Hey guys, Kirill here, and this is 5 Minute Friday. Hope you had a great week, and today we're going to talk about strengths and weaknesses. So, once when I just joined Deloitte, we had a catch-up, or basically we had this meetup where all of the new graduates that joined Deloitte would go to Melbourne and would spend, I think, 2 days there or 3 days, where we would meet up with some of the executives, and they would tell us about the vision of the company and what it's all about, and what we're basically getting into. And there we got to hear from the CEO of Deloitte, who at the time was Guillaume Swiegers. This is Deloitte Australia, and Guillaume Swiegers is originally from South Africa. He was the CEO, and it was a very interesting talk. One thing really resonated with me, and I'd like to share it with you today. And the thing that he said was, it was towards the end of his talk, and he was saying, all right, so how do you become successful? So how do you become one of the top players, top people in your profession, top consultants, data scientists, whatever it is? How do you become ultra successful? And what he said was very interesting because of how controversial it is. You know how sometimes we say, all right, so strengths, it's important to harness your strengths, understand what they are, and develop them further. And also at the same time, weaknesses, you got to work on them. They're not good. Like, you got to improve your weaknesses so you don't have weaknesses, basically. Well, what he said is actually a saying that I have repeated to many people since then, and I also have repeated to myself many times as well. And he said, focus on your strengths and ignore your weaknesses. How interesting is that? That you shouldn't waste time trying to improve your weaknesses and becoming good all around, becoming a professional or an expert in all the different things, or all different skills even. You should understand what your strengths are and really bet on your strengths, really improve them, really make them grow, and get the most out of those strengths. And that way you will get ahead in those areas where you do have strengths, and in the areas where you have weaknesses, there you can be, maybe you can find people that complement you as part of the team you're in, or if you're building your own business, as people that are going to be surrounding you, or maybe you can get advisors, you can get consultants, you can read some advice on a specific topic and how to fix that situation. But basically, his advice was, don't waste time on your weaknesses when you have your strengths that can propel you forward much, much faster, because they're already your strengths, and given that they're your strengths, they're probably something you're passionate about, probably something that you enjoy doing. So that's my tip for you today. It's really helped me a lot in life, and really helped me get to where I am and achieve, create things, and maybe achieve quite a lot of things that I have achieved in life. And so I always look back at this tip, or very often I look back at this tip. So have a think about that maybe this weekend. What are your strengths, and what are some of your weaknesses that you recognize? And of course, there might be some weaknesses that you definitely need to think about. Maybe it's communication skills or something like that are a hurdle. But what are some of those weaknesses that you can totally ignore and still become successful? That's a very interesting question to think about. All right, I hope you have a great weekend, and focus on your strengths, ignore your weaknesses, as my great mentor, Guillaume Swiegers, told me one time. And on that note, I look forward to seeing you back here next time.